I'll recap the game, obviously. Everything I said, it was a Saturday night. Yeah, Saturday night. Saturday night, it stayed true to form after watching the tape. There's still a lot of things we have to do to improve, but it's always good to coach players after you won a game, trying to improve things rather than the other side of it. So I think they're well informed of who we're playing this week. When you think about Michigan State, it's one of those established programs. Coach D'Antonio has done a fabulous job. It's one of the better college teams in the country every year. They seem to find their ways, numerous years of being in the top 20 ranked in college football. They have a certain DNA. It goes back to when Coach Perlis was there. And I can remember being a scout. In 1990, we drafted Percy Snow, first-round linebacker out of Michigan State. And just tough, fundamentally sound football team. They find themselves very comfortable in uncomfortable situations. Last week was probably an uncomfortable situation for them at home, playing a really game Utah State team that did a lot of good things to put some points on the board. But here again, they're a team that doesn't panic, played well, made the plays to win a football game, and that's the critical part. They travel well. Generally, a good run offense and good defense travels well. It walks into any stadium on the road and can play. And so this is why they've been very consistent. Coach has done a fantastic job there for 12 years. I met him quite some years back, and one of the better college football coaches in the country. And their team takes on the personality of their coach. They're very tough. They're disciplined. Don't make a lot of mistakes. And they're an experienced group on defense. I guess the quarterback was a local kid, athletic, can make some plays outside the pocket, tough guy. So they're the typical, when you think that conference, they meet the bill of a team that plays in a tough physical conference. Yeah. I thought about what I talked about that week. The thing that concerns you about opening days is what? Missed tackles. A lot of missed tackles. Great run by him, missed tackles. And, that doesn't surprise me with Nikhil Lowe. All the work that he puts in after practice and all the things he does in the weight room when no one's looking. I mean, he is a guy that is really, it's important to him to play well. He loves the competition. Loves the spotlight, loves the lights. He doesn't run to the shade. He wants the light on him. He likes to perform in big time situations. The run was surprising. We at the end of yesterday when we brought the team in, the play of the day. We always on Mondays you win a game. You bring the team back, and there's always a play of the day, and I showed that, and everybody was excited. And then I said not so fast. The interception by our defensive lineman was the play of the day. That was a pretty good run, too, but he doesn't get enough credit, so I had to give him some love. So Nikhil was up there going shaking his head. No, Coach, I said, yeah, Nikhil, it's the play today, not yours. We expect you to do that, but a defensive lineman dropping into the slant zone and intercepting and running for a touchdown is pretty impressive. Big fella like that. It's rare, but here again, he's a talented player, and I saw that when he was in high school when I had him in the Under Armour game. He's different, and you can tell he's a guy that's going to have an opportunity to extend his career beyond college, and I think he's working at it. He understands the importance of it. I think he wants to play at the next level, and he will. But right now, I think it's thing that when we watch. When you watch other players, sometimes you get admired with other guys, and they have a similar receiver, Davis, number 18, big, strong, physical guy, similar dimensions, about 6'4", about 218, somewhere right around there, same kind of traits, can catch it, strong hands, 50-50 balls, he can jump up and catch it. So it'll be kind of fun watching both of them. Hopefully we can slow their guy down, but he's a good player. Well, I think he'll stay in the framework of the offense, and one thing they do is they pound the ball now. They're a physical run team. They got two really good backs that can they run better after contact, to be quite honest. And he's a quarterback that He's in full control of the offense. Can make some plays with his legs now. He'll get out away from it and make plays. And I think, coming home is always exciting for you. But he's playing on a team where, he has some complementary players, the way they play offense. He doesn't have to put it all on him. He can give it to the runner. He's got some receivers that make some plays. So I think he's comfortable with who he is. He's played in enough football games now. Coming home can be a burden to a young guy sometimes because of all the requests and you guys will want to talk to him all week, and he's going to have to deal with that. But he's, like I said, when this team is a team that is used to the spotlight. That's their normal. That's normal to them. Okay? So when you're the quarterback and you're in a winning program, that comes along with that. And I think that's why they're so successful. They have an air about themselves that when they get off the bus, regardless of at home or on the road, there's a standard they're going to play to, and they've done it.
I know how much you take to the quarterback position. Chase Lucas, 3 tackles for loss. Kobe Williams, leading tackler. What did you see from that group on Saturday?
Well, did a great job on the perimeter tackling, and that's critical. College football is about the perimeter game. Now, these guys are not so much on the perimeter. They like to run it up inside, and beat you up a little bit. But they've got receivers that are really talented, that can catch the ball, and they're hard to tackle. We're going to have to tackle really well, especially on the perimeter when they get it out there. These guys are big guys. They're not little guys. They're big, powerful receivers. So we're going to have to tackle really well. And it's good when your corners will tackle. I always tell corners, if you don't tackle, it's hard to play for me. You got to be able to tackle. Don't tell me about you just being a cover guy. You got to tackle. They ask you to tackle too. So in college football, and that's what gets you beat when you don't tackle on the perimeter, because that's where the big plays are. The way most people play now, they're a little bit more traditional, but they can open it up and throw it at you. They play with some tight ends and they create a couple different formations, but you got to be able to tackle outside. I think JJ will be back this week. I don't know where Zach's at yet. I think he's coming along. We'll see. Yeah. No, won't be back. Coach's decision. Well, if he practices, he's going to play. When you don't practice, you don't play for me. If you practice, you get an opportunity to play. That's how it works. Yeah.
You talked about on Saturday you wanted to see your team handle success.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't been that long, but what are going to be the key things for you to showing that they are going to be able to handle?
Well, we talked about it a little bit. I've always lived my life this way. When you had a little success in your life, you stay humble, but be hungry. That's my motto. Those are my walking orders. Just stay humble and be hungry. That's what you got to do. And it's a mindset. You can't live off what you did in the past, or you stay the same. Somebody passes you up. How much success can be a disease if you allow it. It can overtake you, and before you know it, you're thinking you've arrived, and you really haven't. You've never arrived. There's always something else you want. And if you love the feeling of success, well, what does it take to have some more success? And I think successful teams understand that. We won a football game, and that's fantastic. But now we got to try to win another one against a really, really good football team. So this will be a good test for us.
What are some of the things Michigan State does that stand out to you?
They understand who they are. They play complementary football. Their running game, time of possession allows their defense to not play a lot of snaps. Now, Utah State hit a couple plays on them. Couldn't run the ball past the desk for the most part. They're big and physical. Linebackers inside, good front. Secondary tackles, excellent for the most part. So, they don't do a lot. They'll bring pressure, but they can go with a 4-man rush. They have a couple coverage schemes they like playing. It's, they're a team that understands who they are, so they don't worry themselves about who you are. And I think good teams understand that. Teams that have success, they they don't worry about the opponent. This is who we are. We're going to play this type of defense. On offense, this is what we're going to do. And generally, when you build your DNA that way, you're able to recruit players like that. And it just kind of works. You know, when you've been there 12 years, you kind of establish something of who you are. And they play in a conference where there's different teams in that conference, but they're Michigan State. They have a brand of how they're going to play, and they're not going to change that. And that's why they're so consistent with winning a lot of games. Yeah.
Like you said, he wanted, for the first game, he just wanted Manning to go out and manage the game. How do you think he did in that?
He did fairly well. You know, when you don't turn the ball over, now he wasn't asked to do a whole lot. I mean, he only threw it, what, 24 times or something like that. You know, responded to when he got hit, made a couple plays, made a nice play on the scramble where he rolled and threw the touchdown pass. On the fourth and 5, you know, he hit the fade ball, which was a really nice throw. So he made some good throws. There's probably a couple he wished he could take back. You know, he said, maybe if I'd have set my feet, I could have got, you know, better velocity on the football. But, you know, one thing about Manny, he is an established quarterback. He has a lot of experience. A bad series of plays, 3 and out. Most quarterbacks hate 3 and outs unless you score. You know, it doesn't affect him going into the next series. You know, it doesn't like, well, I got to do something now. He understands that this offense will give him an opportunity. We're fortunate to have some skilled players that if they get the ball in your hand, when you've had a negative play, if you miss them, all of a sudden it becomes a positive play. You know, a 3-yard play becomes an 8-yard play, and you're back ahead of the chains. You know, the thing we don't want to do is get behind the chains offensively, because when you do that, then people have the ability to bring pressure, and that's what Michigan State does. They make you play behind the chains at times, and then they come after you. I thought it was important, and it's going to be really important this week because you're going to have to match these guys' intensity that walk in the ball yard on offense, defense, and special teams. I thought for the most part we tackled fairly well, you know, and I think our D-line did a nice job of really establishing the line of scrimmage for us. We created a lot of negative plays, but we're really going to have to tackle. I mean, because they've got good runners that can break tackles, and as I talked about the receivers, they're good, strong, and physical guys. So this will be a good test for our defense again this week. Well, I mean, the rotation. I mean, you know, a system that we have, and Danny's trying to get a lot of guys in there to play. We got a young defense, as you guys know. So I think he has a veteran presence to himself. I mean, the guys respect him, and you know, he's a tough football player. I mean, this is a game that he kind of likes, you know, because it's a big physical team. He's a physical player. He has some athleticism that you can't teach. It's just his gift, and so it'll be good to get him back playing.
You mentioned the young guys on the defense. Happy with the performance you're saying Michigan State, a program that's used to big lights like this.
Yeah. Well, and we're going to find out, because now all of a sudden they're playing against an experienced football team with a lot of experienced players, you know, and it showed up. I mean, when the game's tight, they don't panic. They keep their poise. They just figure out, well, we're going to be okay. We'll make a play. We're right where we're supposed to be, and they were able to do it down the stretch. You know, you see it in college football. You see the teams with experience, the guys that played a lot. Their demeanor doesn't change. You know, the moment doesn't overwhelm them. They just keep playing. They don't try to play out of their skin. You know, some guys try to play out of their comfort zone, and that's when you mess up. You just got to be who you are and embrace the moment and just play, and it takes care of itself.
Herm, how did you evaluate your team's ability to run the football?
We ran it fairly well. I thought, you know, we attempted more runs than passes. We said that going in, that, you know, we would like to try to run the ball. I think my rule is you throw to score and you run to win. And we were able to do both. We threw it, we scored when we threw it, and we were able to run the ball. We ran it in spurts. You know, as I said, we sputtered some offensively, and that's going to happen this week, by the way, against Michigan State. I mean, they're the 7th-ranked defense or something like that. So it's not like you're going to just have your way with them, because you're not. There's going to be a lot of bad plays, you know, and we got to realize that, and we can't get flustered because this is who they are. You know, you just have to take opportunities you're not gonna be able to make errors, or when you get a chance to make a play, to not make it. You got to make the plays. I mean, you have to, because they're not going to give you second and third chances. So I think we got to be well aware of that.
What can you do as a coaching staff to cut down on the number of penalties?
Well, emotionally, Michigan State had 9, and that's not them. I mean, opening day is hard in college football. It's harder than professional football because there's no practice games. I mean, the spring scrimmage, that's not a game. I mean, professional football, you play 4 games. College football, the first one you play is live. It counts, and it happens. Look, I sat here and said it was going to happen. I'm not a negative guy. I'm a positive guy, to be quite honest. But you just feel it's going to happen because they haven't been in that moment. There's a different anxiety when the lights come on, and you smell the popcorn and you see the people. It's different. And I say that as a player. And I keep telling you guys, I look at things through the player's eyes. I played a long time. And as a veteran guy, this opening day was opening day. And it's like, here we go. And you don't know. You feel like you're comfortable, but you gotta play well uncomfortable. And sometimes it takes you a little while to do that as a football player, as an athlete, period. Now, they might not show it. It might not look like it. But we all got anxiety in our bellies. I don't care how many times look, I never missed a game. I never missed a start. And every time I walked out there, I felt the same thing. And, I'm a veteran guy walking out there, and I'm going, oh, man, you just feel it. And it's a good feeling. It's the best feeling you get in life because your tenors are up. It's like, oh. But then you got to find the pace of the game and just find out where your comfort zone is. And we made some boneheaded plays, and and you got to alleviate it. You can't have 11 penalties in a game and expect to win. You're not going to have 11 penalties against these guys to win a football game. You got no shot. Oh boy. I mean, I was back in here. I got home. I don't know, about 12:30. And before I went to bed, my daughters were up and we were talking, and my wife looked at me and she says, please tell me. I said, yeah, I ain't going to make it. She said, I know. So I was back in here around 4. I didn't sleep. It took almost 30 minutes getting back to all the texts. I said, how do all these people know me? How did they get my number? It's amazing how people get my number. It's like, how did this guy get my number? I haven't talked to the guy in 2 years. How does he get my number? And so, you try to, and I'm pretty, forthright. I mean, when people text me, I text them back. I'm not one of those guys, wait 3 days. I kind of, so you got it, and I'm pressing it, I'm doing, I'm saying, thank you, I got half of the worldwide leader, leave me alone now, because they're up back there. And they kind of know I'm up because the guy gets up at 4 o'clock every morning, so we just texting, so. Yeah, but it was fun. I heard from a lot of good friends, and it was nice. Their encouragement, obviously. It's always nice to hear from friends you haven't heard from in a long time, So it was fun. Now we got big-time football team coming in here now, and established program, and I think it's good for all of us to play a game like this. Look, I can't say enough about our fans. I mean, the student body, that section that sits down here now, I'll tell you what, they were all in now. They were good. They were really good, and I think our crowd, I know we're going to get expected a lot of folks in the stadium, and hopefully we can perform well for them. But it was fun going out there and just watching the students, just participate in it. That's what I love about college football. When I was doing SEC games for a year at ESPN and going to the tailgates before the game, and it's amazing. Just the atmosphere of college football. It's nothing like it. It's different. It's different than pro football. There's no doubt about it. And the young people that come into stadiums are excited, and we got a great fan base. We got a great student body here that really follows sports here. They're in, and I've gone to a bunch of sporting events here. You guys know. You see me at softball games, swimming, I go to all of them. Anything I can go to that's involved in sports here, I'm a fan. I'm a fan, and I go and I watch the student body. I watch how they react. And I go to basketball games. It's fun to watch them, because they come up with more clever things. It's like, how do they do that? Who thinks of stuff like this? I mean, when I was that young, I never thought of stuff like that. It's like, how did they do that? How did they, and they have skits and all that stuff. It's like, it's just fun to watch them. It's great. Yeah, good stuff.
How did you feel about the mechanics of the coaching operation the first time out?
You know, it was okay for the most part. There wasn't a lot of chaos because it can get chaotic on the sideline. And I think a lot of it has to do with these coaches are experienced. It was just a matter of the communication part. When we needed to talk to certain parties on the field, I was in direct communication with all the coordinators for the most part. I stayed out of their way for the most part when they were getting involved in the calling of it. I'm generally a guy that steps in when the offense is off and the defense is about to take the ball. Then I'll talk to the offense and give them some ideas or suggestions. Same way with the defense. Danny's on the field, so I can get to him easy. Coach Slocum is on the field, so I thought for the most part, you know, they needed to know how I was going to react. I think on a game, you know, how the head coach. What is the head coach going to say? You know, every head coach is different. I hope I kept my composure good enough for them because that's whatever you saw this Saturday. That's kind of who I am all the time. I don't change a whole lot. You know, I'm a thinker. I watch. I listen to my eyes. When I see things go awry, I try to get to that unit and speak to them in the course of the game when I get a moment. So, you know, I watch the game. I mean, I watch it. And I watch situations and I watch players. And there's certain demeanors of players when I watch them walk off the field, and I kind of know I need to talk to that one. You know, and I need to tell him this or whatever. And I just do it my own way. You know, I don't try to, you know, get any fanfare. I just find a way over there eventually. It's hard for me because there's so many players. You know, there's like 80 guys. I'm not used to all those guys. It's like I turn around, there's an army back here. Where are all these guys at? You know, and you try to find them and you sift your way through it. And I'm always trying to give them encouragement. You know, that's what you do as a head coach. You got to give them hope. After every series, you give them hope. When things go good, there's not a lot to say. When things don't go the way you like, you try to get back to them, to that unit. When that unit does a good job of certain things, you tap them on the helmet, say, hey, man, you guys are doing a great job, whatever, and that's what you try to do as a head coach.
You went out in the field and talked to an official and was looking at the keels.
Yeah, it's with his pants and his knees. You know, there's this rule that you got to cover your knees, and his knees were covered, but the pad, they thought it was too long, so we discussed that, and we finally came to an agreement that it was okay. And you know, it's just you just do a lot. I'm trying to figure out how to make a first down. I'm worried about knee pads during the timeout, TV timeout. You know, like I said, there's 20 timeouts or something like that in college football. I got to get used to that. I mean, that had to be the longest first quarter that I've ever been involved in football history. I kept looking up there and I'm going, the clock's wrong. I just kept saying the clock is wrong. And finally, I asked somebody. I said, did they not change the quarter? He said, no, coach, it's still first quarter. I said, it can't be. I said, we've been in this thing for 30 minutes now. And he said, no, coach. I said, no, that clock's wrong. I almost started arguing with the guy. I said, the clock's wrong. It's the second quarter. He said, no, coach, it's the first quarter. I asked the official. I said, is it still the first quarter? He said, yeah, coach. I said, is it still long? He looked at me and said, it is a long quarter, coach. I said, yeah, okay, I'm just checking. Am I dreaming? Was it? Okay. So I wasn't like deja vu. I was like out of my element. That's what I thought. I said, is it me? Or, I don't know. It's okay. Got through it. Got through it pretty good. Good. Yes, sir.
How did you like what you saw, obviously, from Isaiah Floyd? And can we expect to see possibly more packages with him going forward as he took advantage of his opportunities?
Well, I think that we have a unit of players that have some unique talents. He was one. I said when we decided to offer him a scholarship, he was a little bit of an exception to the rule as far as his DNA at the position he played, because there's a certain height and weight, speed, FBI, intelligence, and all those things that go into how we recruit now. And if you look at his body type, it wouldn't fit the DNA. But there's always an exception to the rule. And we said that when we decided to offer him a scholarship, and I'm so glad he took it, that he was going to be different. And I think you guys watched him. But when I watched him in JC, I went, okay. They said, Coach, he's a little DNA. I don't worry about DNA on this one. I said, he's a football player. He can help us. So, yeah, I mean, you know, he's got some talent. And I'm not surprised if you're asking that. No, I'm not surprised. The guy that was training him in the offseason, I went to school with the Cal. So he was keeping me abreast every week on how he was training and you know, where he was at. So when he got in here, I think he surprised a lot of our guys, you know, because a lot of guys thought he was a freshman. You know, he came in the offseason and he was running with the guys, and about the second day they figured it out. They said, this guy here, man, he's a little bit different. And so, you know, he's earned his way, and through hard work. He's a hard-working guy. He really is. And he likes playing football. And I like guys that like playing football. He likes practicing football. You know, you like to watch guys like that. And you know, and there's always this thing in life, you know, when you're not the biggest guy, you always feel like you got to prove yourself. So he's always trying to prove himself. And I told him, hey, you don't have to prove yourself to me. I said, that needs to stop. I said, you're one of our guys. You're here for a reason, and you're a good football player. So I'm glad he's aboard.
Everybody good?
Yes, sir.
Just how special and unique is this running back for
Well, Eno is quite the player, as you guys witnessed. He's tough. He can run inside, outside. He's good after contact. He has great balance. He understands blocking schemes. I mean, he sits in the classroom with those offensive linemen when the run game is being put in. He's sitting in the front row, and he really. It helps when you have a running back that knows how to press the hole, because that helps the offensive line get to the second level, because it brings the linebacker in the trash. You know, when you get the linebackers caught in the trash, then all of a sudden he can break away from that. Some running backs don't press the heel of the offensive lineman when you're entering at the enter point, and that gives the linebacker the ability to scrape and go make plays. But he presses the hole, and he has a good enough vision and ability to escape it, where he can hit a little crease and make a play. So, and he catches the ball well. He's good in protection. And, you know, the complete running backs have to protect the quarterback as well. It's not just running and catching the ball. When they bring pressure, Michigan State will bring pressure. You got to pick up a linebacker, you know, and these linebackers here are big and physical guys. Like the kid for UTSA was a good linebacker, 55. He's a good player. And sometimes you got to block those guys. So he does it all. He's a complete running back. Good? Thank you.